Here it is. Perfect. Hi there.
Hey, how's it going?
Amazing view.
Good. How are you? Can you see me well?
Yes, absolutely. Ciao.
Hi.
Hi.
Hola. Hola.
Beautiful view.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing well. I just opened the Chardonnay, so I was kind of
Okay.
like giving it a
So,
swirl.
yeah, we
I need
could.
like to wait for more people.
So, just so people, we're gonna start with the whites. So today, for the whites, can you explain a bit about what we're drinking today?
Yeah.
So, can you explain a bit to the people like that are just join us? What are we drinking today?
Well, absolutely. Like today we're gonna drink two different wines. The first one is a Chardonnay. It is the CATENA Alta Chardonnay. So Alta in Spanish means high, and this Chardonnay comes from high elevation vineyards.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do with the CATENA Alta line is, if you see on the label, it has historic rows
Yeah.
because it is a selection of the best rows of two vineyards in particular for this Chardonnay. One of our vineyard, our top in elevation and in quality vineyard, it's the Indiana vineyard at 1,500 meters above sea level in Mendoza. So
Yeah.
80% of those wines come from there in
Okay.
Tupungato, little appellation called Gualtajari.
So
And then
high
high
elevation
elevation,
Chardonnay, right?
exactly.
So I for those who like Chardonnay, I pre-opened the bottle a bit. So first, it's a pretty golden color.
It is
It's
pretty
pretty
golden, yes.
clear. On the nose, we have like really, it's fresh, it's clean. You really taste that that the vines are working hard and are suffering a bit to produce this wine.
Well, to me, it's like, okay, forget for 2 seconds that I work for Catena, right? But
Yeah.
for 2 seconds, I think this is a phenomenal deal, especially in Canada, because this is high quality grapes. People don't even think of Argentina as Chardonnay. They always think of us as Malbec and generally like towards the reds, but they don't think of us as white. And this Chardonnay, if you compare it like price wise and stylistically speaking to the rest of the Chardonnays that you can find in the country at let's say $40 Canadian, I'm talking Canadian dollars, out east, it's really good deal. Like price quality ratio wise, I think it's really good because the style is, it's the idea of this Chardonnay is to express as much as possible the fruit and the terroir.
Yeah.
And we do use oak, and we do use, for instance, malolactic, but malolactic fermentation is only partial, so we
Yeah.
keep some acidity, that nice freshness that comes from higher elevations. And then we do use oak, but it's not first use; it's first, second, and third use. So the idea is a balance. Like we don't
Yeah.
want to punch you in the face with the oak. We don't want to like. We want to be as expressive as possible. So
Yeah.
the people
Absolutely.
that are tasting right now, like they haven't tried it and they have some sort of like ideas, stylistically speaking. Probably this is not like on the higher spectrum like of Chablis, which is like completely an oak steel, but it does have that nice acidity. But it's not also a California with a lot of oak Chardonnay. It's a
Yeah.
very balanced. I don't know
Absolutely.
what you say.
So yeah, exactly. So basically, I don't know the price for this. We haven't talked about it, but example, if we talk about Canadian dollars, like people right now, like for me, this it's something I would pay like in the range of price between anything from $25 to $40. The quality is outstanding. What is the price range for this right now?
Well, it really depends on where you are in Canada, at least. But price range is around $40 to $45,
Oh,
depending
really?
on the province. Yes.
Okay, I mean, that's what I would pay for this. So for those who are buying this vintage right now, there's the 17 vintage and the 16 vintage available on the market, right?
Yes, exactly. You can find
Uh,
both. Really depends on where
so
you're going.
we previously talked a bit yesterday. Uh, the wine. What I did is it's a double degradation for people who are going to buy it, drink it, we really recommend to decant it before drinking it, right?
Well, this one I really like to decant it before, especially if it's on the 17 side, because they're very very young wines, and you have to have in mind that these wines are made for aging.
Yeah.
So
Oh
you can
yeah.
age this Chardonnay, no problem. 10 years, no problem, absolutely. I was actually at the winery and I tried 2006 late last year, and it was so bright, and like it went into this beautiful nutty nose, like almondy style, that it was insane.
Because at $45, this for me, it's what I really remember about this kind of wine. I remember a really good Puligny Montrachet that I tried last summer when I was in Burgundy.
Yes.
So for everyone who knows a bit how the style of that is, I would say it's something between between like a really fresh Chablis and a really powerful Burgundy. It's really right in between. Like um, there's no appellation Premier Cru and Grand Cru in Argentina, but for me this could easily be a Premier Cru and no problem. Like it's everything's there. For me, it's been open for a little bit, about roughly an hour now, and I would eat this with a steak, and I would also have this with oysters, and the range in the middle, it's kind of flabbergasting.
Well, and also, like, now that we're talking about Chardonnay, and then we can talk a little bit more about Argentina and Catena, it's, to me, I'm like like personally happy because Marina absolutely adores Chardonnay. It's like my white grape is
Yeah,
Chardonnay. And we have this fantastic Chardonnays that come from the same vineyard. It is our vineyard planted at 1,500 meters above sea level. And we have two Chardonnays in there that they're not single vineyard, they're single parcel. So they're little parcel selections that we've actually done a lot of research with the Catena Institute, and to differentiate them. And one, it's called White Bones, and another one is White Stones. Stones because it's covered with, like, it's completely, right from top to bottom, it's like complete calcareous soil that gives like this beautiful expression of Chardonnay. And then White Bones, it's a little bit richer. It's a little bit on the, like, a little bit of the top soil. And then at the bottom you can find also calcareous deposits, and even like fossilized, crumbled, like fossilized animals deposit. And fantastic, we just got 100 points from James Suckling for White Bones 2018, and I'm like, this is the first time that a white gets attention.
yeah.
And it's not a Malbec. I love Malbec, don't get me wrong. Born and raised in Argentina, you gotta love it. But I am absolutely like, thank you, James Suckling, because I absolutely love this wine. So, and it's a Chardonnay.
So as there's more and more people connecting right now, people know me a bit about. There's also people probably from your Instagram connecting in. But for people who don't know you, could you explain a bit what is your background? So with Catena Wines, and what is your background, just like general for be there in your career right now?
Yeah. Okay. So I am the expert manager for Catena Zapata for Canada, and the brand ambassador for the US for Alamos. And I've been working with the Catena family for 3 years now. I was first, I was born and raised in Argentina. I actually did not like wine until I was 18 or 19 years old, and I moved to Mendoza to go to school. And people tell you in Mendoza, if you don't drink wine, you might as well die of thirst, because that's it. That's all you have to drink. And I'm like, okay, I'm very obedient.
Yeah.
I had wine, and then I fell in love with wine. And then I moved to Vancouver 6 years ago. I moved to Vancouver originally for a year. I told my family, bye, see you in 1 year. I'll go do a working holiday visa. Well, I'm still here. And you see beautiful Vancouver at the back in Canada. And then in the meantime, I did a diploma in business, and I did a master's in communication. And that master's took me to China. It was 1 year in Vancouver at SFU and 1 year in China.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to work with the Catena family, because I moved to China, to Beijing for a year, and I was their brand ambassador for all Asia. So that was like a little bit of the story. And then I came back to Canada because I just love Canada. And I'm still working for the Catena family as the Canada expert manager.
So if we speak about our Argentina wines, for sure, if we speak about Argentina, if we speak about it loudly, for us it's Malbec. for everyone that know a bit about Argentina,
Yeah.
Malbec is it's known. We talked a bit about it about the other day when we had a conversation. Can you talk a bit about the history of Malbec in Argentina, why it's so good out there, and maybe talk us a bit about other few grapes that grows right in Argentina actually?
Sure, absolutely. So Argentina itself, not with Malbec, but as a production, as a wine country, um, as a wine producer, it's been producing wine since the 1600s. Like, sorry, the 16th century.
Yeah,
So it is a long, long story with basically the immigrants that, well, actually, like Spaniards that colonized and brought vines, especially with mass. So it had to do with Catholicism and religion. And the first grapes that we still find, which is the mission grape, probably you know it as a mission grape, is Criolla in Argentina, or is País in Chile. And it's been with us forever. And now there is like this rebirth of Criolla. But
yeah,
Malbec has a very interesting history because in the mid 1800s, the who was like after President Sarmiento from Argentina, he hired Michel Pouget from France, and he was the one who brought different cuttings to Argentina, and one of them was Malbec. So, and you have to think, like at the time, Malbec was pre-phylloxera Malbec, because this was in 1853, and phylloxera was in the late 1860s.
yeah.
So we got cuttings, and then we started to plant them, and it worked really, really well because Mendoza is very, very sunny. Malbec loves the sun. It's quite a delicate grape, but it loves the sun. So that's how it started, basically. And then in the 1800s, in the meantime, we had a very, very huge influx of immigration, mostly Spanish and Italians in Argentina. So that's why, like, Italians and Spanish come to Argentina and they say, hey, I want to live, or I want to eat as much as well as I did when I lived in Europe. So a lot of people started to go into wine, and then they started to plant vineyards in Mendoza,
Yeah.
mostly by the river, in the east side of Mendoza, which is now Maipú. And this is where most of the wineries started, and this is where actually Catena started. Catena was the first vineyard was planted in 1902 by an Italian immigrant that came from Le Marche, and Nicola Catena, he arrived to Mendoza in 1898. He met his wife on the boat, and he planted in 1902 in Mendoza. So that's how it started. And right now, Catena Zapata is it's still family owned and still family run, and we're in the fourth generation.
Yeah. So right now it's Laura. Is she still working with her dad?
Yes, well, yes, Nicolas is always there. So Nicolas is the third generation, her dad, and he is 81 years old, 80 or 81 years old, and he's so vibrant, and he helps a lot, but he's also like trying to give space to Laura and say, okay, this is you next, this is you now, which it's been for quite a few years now. But he's still very much present. He's kind of like a wine, let's say celebrity, but I don't like that word. He's like the wine father of like Argentina modern
Because
from wine.
if you could give maybe like 2 or 3 cool facts about Nicola, because his life has been pretty, I would say, fulfilled with positive energy, positive vibe, and I
Yeah.
think that it really reflects in his daughter. I met her during the Vancouver International Wine Festival. That's where we met also. So I think, is there a few things you could say about him? That what does he make that he's such an exceptional human being?
Well, he's always been a visionary. So, and that's not an easy thing to do or to be, because when you're a visionary and then you're the first seeing things, and then people don't back you up, it's very hard to persist.
Yeah.
So he was a visionary in the sense of like during the 70s, around the 70s, him and Elena, his wife, and all the family moved to California for a bit, and he was a visiting scholar at UC Berkeley. You have to know, like, the Catena family are all, they're all academics, and they just like to study a lot. And so Nicolas, having his background in, like I said, doctor in economics, but also like running the winery, he meets with Robert Mondavi. And around the 70s, you have to know that there was the Judgment of Paris.
Yeah.
So he got very inspired by that. He met with Robert Mondavi. He opened the doors. He taught him everything that he was doing. And then he said, wait a second. If the Californians can beat the French in making amazing wines, because at the time, the mindset is just there's only amazing wine and it's only French, right? So if the Californians can do that, I can do that in Argentina. So he went to Argentina and started to modernize a lot of the industry with like stainless steel tanks, and then barrels, like small 225 barrels. And so that was the first, to me, innovation to say, hey, we're all doing cheap and cheerful wines, only focus on volume, and now focus on volume. And now he said, I'm going to focus on quality because I believe that we can do outstanding wines. And then in his search for freshness and for like not so juicy, not so jammy kind of wines, like
Yep.
not so much warmer climate kind of wines, he actually said, well, I have to go south in Mendoza or I have to go up in the mountains. And down south in Mendoza, there is like a lot of hail as well problems, and they didn't have I think he said he had this hunch, and he said, I'm gonna go up in the mountains. So he goes to Gualtajari, now Gualtajari, and it's 1,500 meters above sea level around, and he says, this is where I'm gonna plant my vineyard. He has this kind of like, this is where amazing wines are gonna come from. But everyone around him was like, no, dude, like nothing is gonna ripen here. And it's too cold, yada, 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 yada. And he persisted, and he did. We have now 5 or 6 100-point wines that come from that vineyard.
That's
and
crazy.
Everybody around, actually, now, there are vineyards from many different producers now.
So speaking about this, so will you say that the international export of Argentinian wines, it happened around like, about like what? Like more in the 70s, more in the 80s?
So Argentina has always been producing wine, like I said before. We got to a point, this is very interesting, because we got to a point in the 70s where we had one of the largest consumptions per capita in the world. So we were consuming like 92 liters per capita a year, which is a lot of wine. Yes.
That's crazy.
I know. But it was all, again, it was not focused on quality. We were not exporting. Everything was consumed locally, domestically. And around the 80s, this is what happened. Like, consumption started to go down. So domestic consumption started to go down. So wineries in general started to kind of open up and focus more on quality because they wanted to export their wines. So right now, for instance, the per capita consumption in Argentina is around like 22 or 25 liters. I don't remember, but around that. And it's changed dramatically because people drink less wine, but better quality wines. So we have had this, of course, this influx of beer and artisanal beer. So people are kind of moving as well, especially like the millennial, well, we are millennials, age group. But it's changed dramatically. So you can find amazing wine in Argentina. Really, really good, high quality, and it's very cheap. Like, you would be surprised.
So speaking of this, maybe just to explain a bit what we're drinking towards red wine also, because we also have a red wine today. Maybe while you explain the label, what is that pyramid?
Oh, okay, I'll explain the label. I am just reading like of people that are saying hello. Oh, my mom is there, of course. I don't know if she's understanding anything. Hola, mama.
My mom is there also. So cheers to our moms.
Cheers to the moms. Salud to the
Salud.
moms. Oh, ahí está. Oh, my mom. That's so funny. And then it was Alejandro also. I hope she's still there. Hola, Alejandro. That's a winemaker. That's our phenomenal star winemaker, Alejandro.
Hola, Alejandro. ¿Cómo estás?
Is that all your Spanish?
No, I learned, the thing is, I learned Spanish in high school por 5 años.
Ajá, muy bien.
Y visitamos 4 países del Centro y Sudamérica.
Ajá.
So, no hay, mi español está no perfecto, está posible de hablar un poco.
Ajá.
Y yo dice que no más.
Oh, hey, Curtis. How's it going? Curtis Cole is with us. I don't know if you know him. He's a phenomenal journalist from Vancouver.
Hi, Curtis. It's nice to meet you.
Salud. Salud,
Cheers.
Curtis. And Andrea and Daniela from the winery. So, like, we have some people. I hope you guys are drinking with us.
So, my first experience of your wines was that amazing Malbec we tried during the wine fest. But now when I'm drinking right this, so if we speak about the label and you speak about, is this available around the world?
Yes. So, first of all, this is available around the world. This is probably our flagship wine. This is what gets us through the door everywhere. Many retail locations and also on premise, like restaurants, hotels, because it's like we will taste it now, but it's so soft that it goes so well with or without food.
Yeah.
That a lot of on premise places have it. So this label, FYI, it's very special in Canada. So the regular label is less colorful, it's more black and white.
Okay.
But in Canada, we wanted to differentiate with the Cabernet that we can do next time. So this is a little bit more red. But you see right here, that little pyramid is the winery. So that is our winery that has the form and shape of a pyramid. And this would be the Andes Mountains right here.
Oh, okay.
In a very artistic way. Because literally that's how it looks when you go to Mendoza and you come to our winery, and then you can just see the beautiful pyramid and all the Andes at the back.
The pyramid, that's really impressive.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Well, the thing is, when Nicolas, here you have another fact. When Nicolas was trying to build the winery to receive. When he was trying to receive visits, he said, "Okay, what is the winery going to be like?" And the obvious part was, I don't want to be a chateau looking, because we're not French,
yeah.
We're not Europeans. So he actually tried to pay kind of like an homage to the indigenous groups from the Americas, and the pyramid is actually inspired by man. So
yeah.
So that's where it comes from. That's the idea.
And example, this Malbec, so basically the Malbec we're having right now, it's the CATENA 2017.
So 2017, love 2017 because it's so fresh. Like smell, it's not juicy, it's not jammy.
No, it's not.
Again,
so
it's not going to punch you in the face with the oak. No.
I mean, there's more fruits. Hey, what's up, Bram? What's up, Cassidy? There's more fruits than there's oak for sure.
Yes.
And you know, like sometimes Malbec are really punchy on the spices side, and like the green pepper and the spice. This, it's really round. Another for this, we recommend to open it half an hour to 45 minutes before drinking it.
Half an hour, it's okay. Like to
half
be honest,
an hour.
It's quite fresh. It's quite young. What I like about this wine is like Malbec in general. It's very versatile. So especially after living like for a whole year in China, I realized like how you can pair it with so many different dishes, and it wouldn't hurt your dish. So I wouldn't go to oysters necessarily, but like a salmon and anything like white meat or lamb and anything in between, it works very well because the tannins are very nice and round and sweet, so they're very, very good.
Yeah, and the acidity is not overpowering. Is this a wine that we're able to age for a few years?
Well, it's not the idea, to be honest. So the idea is to drink this fresh, like 5-7 years, like it'll hold no problem. But what was the year? I tried a 15-year-old of this wine, and it was still holding. And if you think of that, for a $23 bottle of wine, to be able to do that, it's phenomenal. It's, again, it's not the idea of this wine, it's to have it fresh, but it can hold.
So
It's
so
years.
so if we speak a bit about like Malbec wise, no, maybe not this one, but what is the oldest Malbec from Argentina that you taste?
Oh, that I have tasted. Probably 1998.
Okay.
Probably no, 1997 actually. It was 1997. It was Catena Alta, so the same line as the Chardonnay.
Yeah.
So the same line as the, which is a step up from the one that we're drinking right now for the Malbec.
Yeah.
It was 1997, and it
Okay.
was in Edmonton. It was very interesting, yeah, because the owner of a restaurant in Edmonton, he had a whole case that he had bought 20 years ago.
That's it.
And he said, "You know what? I've never opened. I think we should crack a bottle tonight." And I'm like, "Sure, absolutely." It was 1997, Catena Alta, and it was so good. It was so good. It was, of course, it was already like full on like tertiary notes, like very little fruit still available, but it was so good that we just had it with dinner.
For sure. I mean, a wine with age like this, for sure, you need some fruit to like structure
and
wise.
also, again, like I am against this mindset that you only have to collect bottles that are over $200 and above. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the phenomenal bottles that are $50. That if you want to collect, of course,
Yeah.
that you can save and they can age beautifully.
Yeah, for sure. I think people who are having a cellar at home right now, example,
hola, Lu. Another friend, Lucia.
it's so cool.
Yeah.
I hope that everyone's having a great Friday.
James Platt. Who's James? Hey, my awesome people. Hi, James.
James is a friend of mine who works at Kitsch Wines.
Oh, I can't see. Oh, well, that's where I used to work. I worked at Kitsch for 3 years. I loved it. That was my wine school. I said that Kitsch was my WSET level 2 or 3. Because I learned everything there.
But no, you're speaking about Kitsilano.
Yes.
I'm speaking about Kitsch Winery in Kelowna.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Kitsch as Kitsilano wine cellar here in Vancouver.
Yeah, because we speak about it.
Okay, hi, beautiful wines as well, actually.
Yeah. It's in East Kelowna.
Oh yes, thank you. I have a great view. Thank you, Lucia. That's why I'm here.
For people who don't like, you speak about how you started for CATENA, but for people who don't know, you actually work at one of the best wine shop in Vancouver, right?
I am blessed in that sense. Yes. I've been working for CATENA for 3 years now, and what I like about working for CATENA is, again, how versatile it is, because we have a wide array of wines that we are like from quote unquote entry level, and then to the high end and high elevation wines, which I really love. But then you have this, for instance, like you have Laura Catena, who's like brilliantly, she's so smart. She's a doctor. She studied medicine from Harvard and Stanford. She has 3 kids. She's still married. She manages a winery and she writes books. So it's like, I have no idea how she does it all. Actually, like, she has amazing people probably working for us, like working for her like us. And actually, that's one of the things that I like, because, for instance, like this book that I have right here, which is Gold in the Vineyards, it's her latest book that got published a month ago. And it's all about the history of the family-owned vineyards, but high-end vineyards all around the world. So you can, and their history, but it's like almost like a cartoon.
Okay. So
it's not very easy to read. It's very easy to understand. It has to do with like how like the women are there. So like so you have like Chateau d'Yquem, you have Lopez
Veuve,
Heredia, you have the Antinori family, like you
Veuve
have.
Clicquot, Veuve Clicquot probably.
So it's a fantastic book, and also the history of the CATENA family and the women in the CATENA family.
Okay, that's awesome. And that's available what, like Amazon?
It's available on Amazon and Amazon US and Amazon Canada. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So you guys at Catena had a pretty massive news just a few weeks ago.
Yes.
I think it's last week if I'm right.
Yes.
So Catena finished for 2020 the most admired wine brand in the world.
Woo!
Yes, cheers.
Salud. Salud.
So it's been 118 years of wine production since 1902. So
Yes.
it's been a
Thanks
hell
for
of
doing the math.
yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. So how do you feel right now in your career at this time of your life working for a company that's so, diversified and like we say in French, avant-gardiste, that always go forward and everything?
Yes. Well, I feel like, of course, very, very happy because it helps us more. A couple of things. First, it helps us more put Catena, and not just Catena, but all Argentina in the map
Yeah.
as well. So people can recognize, because I feel like there is this kind of long-standing, it's changing, but it's kind of like slowly, like when people only think of Argentina as a cheap and cheerful production winery, country. You know what I mean? So they don't know like the quality that can come up. Here you go. It's just running out low on battery. Anyway,
How much percent you have?
10.
Okay, we should be good for another few minutes. So
Yeah.
so,
We're good.
so you were saying.
Oh, and Liz from Ontario is there. Hi, Liz. Thank you.
Hi, Liz. Oh,
Thanks,
is it?
congratulations.
I think.
She's like, I love Liz.
What?
She represents Wines of Argentina in Ontario in the Atlantic
Okay.
as well. She's a firecracker. I love her. Thank you, Liz.
I don't know her, but I cannot wait to meet her.
Oh no, you would love her. Yes.
So we were just about that the fact that now in how many countries you guys are distributed right now, like roughly in
Oh,
Europe, Australia.
we even distribute in Africa. That's all I'm gonna say. So yes, but absolutely Europe. We have a big distribution in Europe. Actually, we have a big, nice, amazing team in Europe, and then we have in Asia. Yeah, and even in Africa. So in the Americas, of course, we're very strong in Latin America as well.
Okay. I mean, that sounds pretty good. For people, example, who want to have your wine, example, I have a group of friends from Europe for sure that maybe want to have some of your wines. Is it possible to order? How are the shipping fees? How does that work right now?
Well, what we're doing actually is we're working very closely with every importer in Europe, and every so for instance, I know that a lot of like the big and very well known famous wine stores in London, they're all delivering. And you know what I found that I can send you, and then you can post it if you want. We actually contributed to this fantastic article and kind of list that Jensis Robinson did.
Yeah.
So she is like, we've been kind of helping her to say, oh, hey, this is the people that are delivering our wines, or this is the people that we're working with that are delivering, and she's made this phenomenal, huge list, and you can find like from almost everywhere.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because we have to keep social distancing. We have to keep staying home, drinking wine, but staying home.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'll get better soon. Just like I think right now we're kind of in the peak of it. It's gonna go down probably in the next few weeks. For now, it's part of her life, and there's kind of
probably in Canada. I don't know about the rest.
When you hey Matt Fuller, when you started in the wine world, is there any wine that kind of flashed you, like a wow wine, something that really flabbergasted your palate?
Well, the very first wine that I actually remember drinking not the very first wine ever. The very first wine that actually I made the click. It's Escorihuela Gascon. It's a wine. It's a winery in Argentina. It's actually one of the oldest wineries. That you can probably see a wine here. This 1884. It's a Malbec. It's a $20 Malbec in BC. Well, it's a little bit cheaper in the rest of the provinces. But that was my first wine in Argentina. And before, I didn't like it. I did not like wine. I was like, I don't understand why people do this to themselves. And then I drank that, and I was like, oh my God, I really like that. And the first thing that I noticed, it was probably the first thing that I noticed, because it was just opened as well, it was oak. And I said, oh my God, I can taste wood. And I call it the wood. So, because I didn't even know that wine was actually aged in oak, so imparts flavors, yada, 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 yada. So all
Really?
I can say is like that wine. Yeah, exactly. I didn't know anything.
That's so cool.
18 years old.
Oh, you are 18 years old. Yeah, fair enough.
18 or 19 years old. And I'm like, oh, la madera. And I was calling it la madera. That's it. And I loved it.
We have a special guest that just joined us. Trialco Wines just joined the conversation.
Oh, who do we have? Oh, Trialco Wines. Okay, hola, chicas. And we have some guys from Ontario, actually, Matt and Mark.
Hi, guys. So,
hello,
hey,
Ontario.
Does
the sun that is here, like, I don't know how is it in the where you are, like, are you in Oliver? It's like my hair was wet, and now that I'm here, it's almost dry.
Perfectly dry. Yeah.
Gorgeous day.
Yeah, gorgeous. How is the guys? Tell us, how's the weather on the East Coast? I know that Montreal we're receiving snow today, and I was like,
if you guys have any questions.
And you have any questions, actually? Other than that, we were speaking about something yesterday. I don't know if people know about this, but before it was Merlot in Bordeaux back in 1855 when he did the Classement Bordeaux. It was Malbec.
Yes, got it right.
Something such a special.
So basically, before phylloxera, and you're referring to like the 1855 classification of Bordeaux, those wines that made it into like salud, that made it into the first growths, were mostly Medoc wines. Those wines had between 40 to 60% were completely, 40 to 60% of the wines were Malbec.
Yeah.
And then the rest was Cabernet.
And after the phylloxera, they changed it for Merlot because Merlot rain more.
Exactly.
But Merlot.
What are you drinking, Marina? Okay, we're drinking CATENA Chardonnay, CATENA Alta Chardonnay.
Yeah.
That he just showed. And CATENA Malbec, Salud, 2017. Love that year.
I'm really impressed for the price of those wines and the quality of it, for real. Like, the bottles are fantastic. It's really, really quality. Like, I think it's really a winery for people. I knew a bit about CATENA before, but now I think people who didn't know about it, it's time. It's I think it's available mostly North America, everywhere. It's available. I mean, it's like we said, available everywhere around the world. So it's a reason to start drinking. And some people sometimes they're like, oh, maybe I'm French, maybe I'm Italian, maybe I'm Greek. I don't want to buy wine from Argentina, guys. They have nothing to envy to the rest of the world. That's what I have to say about that.
Well, thank you. Yes, especially like this Malbec, you can find it everywhere. Like literally in every like all around the world, and also in Canada at every BC liquor store, every LCBO, every SAQ, most of the monopolies across the country have it. Hola, Adri. I see more people. I'm kind of looking.
As we both been doing kind of wine events on the East Coast and the West Coast this year, like I was also at La Grande Dégustation. I was working for Manuel Garret from Portugal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what
I was there too.
What do you think that it's I know you were there. That's why I'm telling you that. We haven't met. We're busy working. So, what will you say is the biggest difference between, example, the consummation of drinking on the East Coast and on the West Coast? Do you see a difference?
Well, I couldn't call it like East Coast and West Coast. Like Canada is, it's not one single market. It's it's like little tiny markets all together under one country, but there's not a single market. So I wouldn't say East Coast in general, because for instance, like for us at least in Catena, in any Argentinian actually, at the SAQ in Quebec, we're not as strong, because the SAQ in Quebec sells a lot more and has a lot more French orientation, right? So I would say that. But in Ontario, we're actually quite strong. So it really, really depends. And then, for instance, go to Alberta, of course, they're very much like us. They love meat. They love their big and bold wines. So we sell a lot there as well. So it really depends on the markets, and it really depends on different.
If someone had never tried Malbec before, because maybe there's some people out there that don't know what Malbec, or maybe they thought it was too bulky, what would be your, like, how would you approach a Malbec when you, well, for example, if you open your first bottle of Catena Malbec, if you never had Malbec before, how would you approach the wine? What would be the kind of your tips about how to drink Malbec?
Well, the good thing about Malbec, well, not all Malbec, but let's say this Catena Malbec, right? I think it's actually fantastic to have it with or without food. So you have it with a little bit of, you can have it just on its own. You just crack a ball and clean your house, whatever. And, or you can have it with either cheese, meats, like any charcuterie, like it's going to work very, very well. Of course, a steak, that's what we do, but I am just trying to approach to also vegetarian people.
Yeah.
And the very important thing is, like, the tannins are not rough. They're quite round. They're sweet, so they're very easy to drink. So you're not gonna have tannins punching you in the face, and then you're gonna absolutely need